Alright, hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I picked out a fairly large stack of RPGs here where I'm going to be talking about the music. But I didn't just pick them out just to talk about the music for any old reason. I picked them out because I feel that the music is really underrated. Some of the games here are fairly well known, but I don't think a lot of people know just how good some of the music is in some of these RPGs. So I'm gonna, show you a whole bunch of games here, and what I'm gonna do, because of copyright reasons, I can't litter this video with tons and tons of songs. What I'll do is in the video description below, in the order that I mentioned them in, I will include 2 songs per game so that you can go and check out the music that I'm talking about. And hey, maybe the music will convince you to play some of these games. Anyway, let's start with the game that kind of inspired this video. The other day I was doing a live stream for a PlayStation 1 RPG that I played for the very first time, and that's Koudelka. And I have to say, the music in this game is unlike anything I've ever heard before in an RPG. It's not that sort of like upbeat, hard techno, like rock soundtrack that you would expect. No, the music in this game is sort of like whimsical, almost like instrumental, like tribal music at times. All I can say is I'll include the music for probably the boss battle music and the regular battle music, just so you can get a sample of what the music in Koudelka is like, and maybe that'll convince you to try it out, because it is actually a pretty good RPG. So it's like a mix of survival horror and turn-based RPG. It's really interesting stuff. Okay, so next I am including this one because I know there are a lot of Yuzo Koshiro fans, for Etrian Odyssey and Streets of Rage, which are what he's most well known for, but did you know that he composed the soundtrack for Advanced Dungeons & Dragons: Eye of the Beholder for the Sega CD, and he composed an exclusive soundtrack only for this version, and I have to say, there are some songs in here that I think are some of his best work. It's very atmospheric, it fits the game incredibly well, especially the dungeon theme. I'm going to include some links below. Check it out if you're a fan of his work. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Alright, and next up we have Time and Eternity on the PlayStation 3. This is actually one of the worst rated games on the PlayStation 3, especially when it comes to RPGs, and people in Japan absolutely hated this game. I, for one, actually thought it was okay, but the best part about this game were by far the battles, and the battle music in this are phenomenal. Once again, composed by Yuzo Koshiro, but I have to say, the battle themes in this game are nothing short of exceptional. So if anything, even if you never plan on playing this game because you've heard of how bad it is, at least just listen to the 2 songs I'll include below, because they're actually really good. Alright, so this one is for anybody that's ever wanted to play a Kirby RPG, and yes, I mean Kirby, the pink Nintendo character. Of course there's no Kirby RPG, but did you know that HAL made an RPG on the Super Nintendo called Arcana? And the crazy thing is, it uses basically the same sound as a Kirby game. So if you like the sound of Kirby music, check out Arcana. It's got an amazing boss battle song that I will include below. Be sure to check that one out. Alright, next is a game that never came out in America, and I do have a reproduction of it, and it's from Square, and that is Treasure of the Rudras. So this is a game that you'll either have to buy a reproduction of or download an English translated ROM, but make sure you do, because not only is it a good RPG with an incredibly interesting way of handling a story, of letting you choose between different characters and different story arcs that eventually intersect, and an incredibly complex make-your-own magic battle system. Like, it's completely insane. Besides that, the music in this is some of the best that you will ever hear coming out of the Super Nintendo. I'll include 2 songs below, but believe me, there are plenty more. And if you're going to check out some music from this game, make sure you listen to all the battle themes, because they are all amazing. Okay, I just have to quickly mention Blue Dragon. I'm sure you all know about this game. Maybe you've played it, maybe you haven't. But the reason why I want to mention it is this has one of the absolute best final boss battle themes I've ever heard in any RPG. The only thing that might come close is like Final Fantasy VIII's The Extreme, The Legend of Heroes, or Sora no Kiseki III's final boss battle music, which, search that song, it's amazing. The final boss battle theme in Blue Dragon, I've never beat the game. I got like maybe 20 hours into it, and I am a fan of the regular boss battle theme, believe it or not. I know some people hate it. But do me a favor and just, if you're going to listen to any song in this video, check out the final boss battle theme by Nobuo Uematsu for Blue Dragon, because it will put you in the mood to basically pick up this game and kick the final boss's ass. Because one time I was just sitting around at my friend's house, we were listening to some music, and I'm like, hey, could you just search Blue Dragon final boss theme? And we're listening to it, and one of my friends is like, can I borrow your copy of Blue Dragon? Because he really wanted to play this game after hearing the final boss theme in this game. So this game has, the music in this game has the power to make you want to play it. So check out the links below. Alright, and next is one of the most calming and relaxing soundtracks you will ever hear in an RPG, and that is Opoona on the Wii. It doesn't really have like crazy over-the-top battle themes or anything like that, but like the songs for some of the towns and areas in here are just so freaking relaxing. Like, I had this soundtrack on one time when I was streaming some Hearthstone on Twitch, and it was perfect for that game. So if you can imagine a soundtrack for an RPG that fits with a very slow card battle game, Opoona is so good. Make sure you check out the music for this as well. Alright, one of my favorite RPGs is the Dark Spire on the Nintendo DS. And I have no problem admitting that one of the reasons it's probably one of my favorites is because the soundtrack is so darn good. And it's so good that I went onto a video game music database site and looked up to see, what other games the composer for this game has composed. And from what I remember, there was basically nothing. The composer basically only worked on this game and maybe like only a couple of like PC-only Japanese games or something like that. But oh my god, if you want to hear epicness when it comes to battle themes in an RPG, please, if you have not done so already, listen to the 2 songs I have posted below and thank me later. It'll probably convince you to play the game too. Alright, next is Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo's Dungeon on the Wii. The reason why I'm including this one is for all of you Final Fantasy fans out there. I've been promoting this game ever since I started my channel. This was one of the first games I ever mentioned ever on YouTube in 5 RPGs on the Wii video that I did a long, long time ago. But the music in Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo's Dungeon, the reason why it's so amazing is it's incredible symphonic, like orchestrated remixes of all of your favorite Final Fantasy songs. So if you're a fan of Final Fantasy music, sort of a tongue twister, make sure you at least check out the soundtrack for this game. Even if you don't plan on playing it, it is like fan service 100% for Final Fantasy fans when it comes to music. Maybe, well, not maybe as much as like Theater Rhythm on the 3DS, but if you're looking for some amazing exclusive remixes, check out the soundtrack for this game. Alright, and next up is a Sega Saturn game, and that is Albert Odyssey. Admittedly, I never finished this game, but it has some really standout tracks, and what I believe to be probably the best overworld theme in any RPG. Like, I absolutely love the overworld music in Albert Odyssey, and it's got some amazing tracks to go with it as well. A pretty good battle theme, but it's just, the soundtrack fits it very well. It's very underrated. I'm sure not a lot of people have played this game, so maybe the soundtrack will convince you to give it a try. Alright, next is Riviera the Promised Land, and I've included here the Game Boy Advance version and the PSP. It's also on the WonderSwan if you happen to be able to play that version. So Riviera is a very story-driven, or very heavily story-driven RPG in the sense that you don't really have any control over free roaming through the game. So when it comes down to having fun with this game, it relies heavily on the character development and the story, and of course the music. It definitely helps it along. This has some of the strongest like battle themes I've ever heard in a portable RPG. So be sure to check it out. Whatever version you like more, I don't know, I kind of prefer the Game Boy Advance version over the PSP version, but what I'll do is I'll include a song from each so you can check it out. Alright, if you're a fan of music from like Earthbound, be sure to check out Contact on the Nintendo DS. This game has a very quirky, poppy, very sort of like spacey sci-fi soundtrack. It's definitely not an RPG for everybody. The game itself plays very differently. It plays more like a top-down MMO on a DS. It's very hard to explain the battle system in this game, but the music is really good. Be sure to check out the songs I posted below. Alright, in the next game, I may have invested thousands of hours in this game across, several years. A good portion of my life I spent playing Final Fantasy XI. But I have to say, guys, I know some of you are never going to play this game, you have no plans to, but oh my god, if I am not a strong supporter in believing that Final Fantasy XI probably has one of the best soundtracks in any RPG. Yes, it's an MMO, but that doesn't matter. If you listen to the songs I post below, they're relaxing, they're so freaking good. You might, give this game a second look. Of course, you probably won't go and play it today because it's been out for freaking ever, but at least appreciate the soundtrack for one of the best games that I ever played in my life. I have so many memories listening to these songs. I've spent hundreds of hours listening to these songs. Well, I played the game for thousands, but I've listened to, well, whatever, you know what I mean. I spent a long time listening to the music in this game, so check it out. Alright, and next is Eternal Sonata. Now, this is a game that's based on the composer Chopin, so it's a musical RPG, so you better believe that the music in this game is amazing, and it does have some of the best battle themes that I've heard in an RPG in a long time, especially some of the boss battles. So check out the links below. If you've never played this game before and you're a fan of RPG music in general, I think this is one giving a shot. It does get very repetitive in terms of the gameplay after like 20 hours or so, but it's worth checking out for the music alone. Alright, and lastly is a game that you all probably know about, and that is The Last Story on the Wii. The reason why I'm including this one, though, is I just feel that Xenoblade came out, and everybody loved that game. The music in that game is incredible. But The Last Story kind of came out during a time where people had already sold off their Wii, or they'd forgotten about the Wii, or The Last Story in general. But oh man, if you're a fan of Nobuo Uematsu's work, like Final Fantasy style music, you have to check out this game, because not only does it have an amazing soundtrack, but it has, like, some of the best character development and story. It's called The Last Story, so you better believe the story is pretty good, or hope it's good, and it is. So not only is it a good game, but it has some incredible music to go along with it. I just didn't want everybody to forget about this game, and at least experience the soundtrack. So there you go, guys. There's plenty of other games I could have included, but I didn't want to make the list too long. So be sure to check out all the links below. Hopefully you listen to some of the music, and it maybe sort of inspires you to play some of these games. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching.